Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12. Today we are starting new chapter, chapter 5, Shukdev Goswami's final instructions to Maharaj Parikshit. Text 1 onwards. Shri Shukavacha Atranu Varnyate Abhikshanam Vishwatma Bhagwan Hari Yasya Prasadajo Brahma Rudra Krodha Samudbhava. Shukdev Goswami said this Srimad Bhagavatam has elaborately described in various narrations the supreme soul of all that be, the personality of God at Hari, from whose satisfaction Brahma is born and from whose anger Rudra takes birth. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given a very elaborate summary of Srimad Bhagavatam in his commentary on this verse. The essence of the great Acharya's statement is that unconditional loving surrender to the Supreme Lord Krishna, as described by Shukdev Goswami, is the highest perfection of life. The exclusive purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam is to convince the conditioned soul to execute such surrender to the Lord and to go back home, back to Godhead. Even Bhagavad Gita, the final word was to surrender. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Pratyaja Mam Ekam Sharnam Raja. Shukdev Goswami says the same thing. So this is the essence of all the scriptures. Tvam tu rajannam marisheti pashu buddhim imam jahi najata pragabhuto adya dehavatvam na nangshyasi. O king, give up the animalistic mentality of thinking, I am going to die. Unlike the body, you have not taken birth. There was not a time in the past that you did not exist and you're not about to be destroyed. Means soul will live forever. As at the end of the first canto, King Parikshit stated, O Brahma, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahman created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. So even before hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, King Parikshit was a Mahabhagavad, the great and pure devotee of Lord Krishna. There was actually no animalistic fear of death within the king. But for our sake, Shukdev Goswami is speaking very strongly to his disciple, just as Lord Krishna speaks strongly to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. So through Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami is giving us this instruction to give up this animalistic thinking. I'm going to die. Never gonna die. Na bhavishyasi bhutva tvam putra potra dirupavan bijankuravade ader vyatir ekto yatha nalaha. You will not take birth again in the form of your sons and grandsons like a sprout taking birth from a seed and then generating a new seed. Rather, you are entirely distinct from the material body and its paraphernalia in the same way that fire is distinct from its fuel. So sometimes one dreams of being reborn as a son of one's son in the hope of perpetually remaining in the same material family. As stated in Shruti Mantra, Pita Putrena Pitramani Yoni Yono. Father has a father and a son because he may take birth as his own grandson. The purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam is spiritual liberation, not the foolish prolonging of the illusion of bodily identification. That is clearly stated in this verse. And especially if you remember all the Shruti falls of when Shukdev Goswami said, if you hear this katha very faithfully, you'll not take birth again, or you'll go back, or you'll get this, you'll get that. And Parikshit Maharaj is one of those listeners who listened he heard very, very faithfully and with full attention. Swapne yatha shiratchedam panchatvadyatmana swayam yasmat pashyati dehasya tat atma hiyajo amaraha. In a dream, one can see his own head being cut off and thus understand that his actual self is standing apart from the dream experience. Similarly, while awake, one can see that his body is a product of the 5 material elements. Therefore, it is to be understood that the actual self, the soul, is distinct from the body. It observes and is unborn and immortal. So soul is definitely separate from the body, different from the body. Ghate bhinne ghatakasha akasha syadyatha pura evam dehe mrite jivo brahm sabhadyate punah. When a part is broken, the portion of sky within the part remains as the element sky, just as before. In the same way, when the gross and subtle bodies die, the living entity within resumes his spiritual identity. But this part is broken and the ghatakash patakash means there is the sky within the part and there is sky outside the part. When the part is broken, of course, Vaishnava understanding is the portion of the sky within the part remains as the element sky, just as before. But Mayavad interpretation is the sky in the part merges into the sky outside the part. So what they believe is when this body dies, the soul or whatever energy is there just merges into the Supreme and loses its identity. But here it doesn't say that. Here it says the living entity within resumes his spiritual identity. Means when the material body is gone. Now, right now we will continue with our material, either gross, well, first the spiritual or subtle body, and then we get the gross body. But those who are spiritually advanced, when they leave the gross and subtle material bodies, they resume the spiritual identity. Mana srijati vaidehan gunan karmani chat manah tan mana srijate maya tato jivasya samsriti. The material bodies, qualities, and activities of the spirit soul are created by the material mind. That mind is itself created by the illusory potency of the Supreme Lord, and thus the soul assumes material existence. Snehadhishtanya vartagni samyogo yavadiyate tavadipasya dipatvam evam dehakrito bhava raja sattva tamo vritya jayate at vinashyati. A lump functions as such only by the combination of its fuel, vessel, wick, and fire. Similarly, material life, based on the soul's identification with the body, is developed and destroyed by the workings of material goodness, passion, and ignorance, which are the constituent elements of the body. So, workings of material goodness, passion, ignorance means material modes of nature, and then all the different elements we studied, they all come together and constitute the elements of the body, and the body is made subtle and gross, and the soul gets an identification with the body. Na tatratma swayam jyotir yo vyakta vyaktayo paraha akasha eva chadharo dhruvo anantopa masataha. The soul within the body is self-luminous and is separate from the visible gross body and invisible subtle body. It remains as a fixed basis of changing bodily existence, just as the ethereal sky is the unchanging background of material transformation. Therefore, the soul is endless and without material comparison. Endless means there is no end to it. The body dies, the soul never dies. Evam atmanam atmastham atmanevam risha prabhu buddhyano man garbhinya vasudeva anuchintaya. My dear king, by constantly meditating upon the Supreme Lord Vasudeva and by applying clear and logical intelligence, you should carefully consider your true self and how it is situated within the material body. This is actually the first lesson of self-realization, that we are not this body. We are spirit soul. And this Shukdev Goswami is saying, by constantly meditating upon the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, carefully consider who we are. And this is actually these instructions for us. Chodito vipra vakyena natvam dhakshyati takshakaha mrityaho nopadhaksyanti mrityunam mrityum ishwaram. The snake bird Takshak sent by the curse of the Brahman will not burn your true self. He can only burn the body. The agents of death will never burn such a master of the self as you, for you have already conquered all dangers on your path back to Godhead. So definitely Parikshit Maharaj is going back home, back to Godhead. Real death is a covering of one's eternal Krishna consciousness. So that is a real death. And that way we all are dead anyway. Only few of us are alive. For the soul, material illusion is just like death. But Parikshit Maharaj had already destroyed all those dangers that threaten one's spiritual life, such as lust, envy, and fear. Shukdev Goswami here congratulates the great saintly king who, as a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, homeward bound to the spiritual sky, was far beyond the reach of death. Or even if the snake bites him, he's just going to bite the gross body and the soul will leave the gross body anyway. Aham Brahma Param Dhama Brahmaham Paramam Padam Evam Samiksha Chatmanam Atmanyadhaya Nishkale Dashantam Dakshakam Pade Lelihanam Vishanana Nadrakshasi Sharidam Cha Vishwam Cha Prithagatmanaha. You should consider I am non-different from the absolute truth, the supreme abode, and that absolute truth, the supreme destination, is non-different from me, because we all are spiritual. We don't. Somehow we have the material body, but ultimately our identity is we are spirit souls. Thus, resigning yourself to the supreme soul, who is free from all material misidentifications, will not even notice the snake bird Takshak when he approaches with his poison-filled fangs and bites your foot. Nor will you see your dying body or the material world around you, because you will have realized yourself to be separate from them. So basically, these instructions for us, we have to come to this understanding. And Krishna will give us the unit test before the final exam. The unit test will be there all along the way. So some pain, some accident, some injury or something. So at that time, at that moment, what do we think of? Am I this body or am not this body? What is a word that comes out of our mouth? Because that is what we would be thinking of in our mind. The word that comes out of our mouth. So all it means is we have to purify our consciousness. Chanting should be very, very strong. Etatte kathitam tat yadatma prishtavan ripa harer vishwatmanascheshtam kim bhuya shrotum ichhasi. Beloved King Parikshit, I have narrated to you the topics you originally inquired about, the pastimes of Lord Hari, the supreme soul of the universe. Now, what more do you wish to hear? In his commentary on this text, Srila Jiva Goswami has elaborately demonstrated by citing many Bhagavatam verses the exalted devotion position of King Parikshit, who was fully determined to fix his mind upon Lord Krishna and go back to Godhead. See, this is Guru. real Guru. He's not telling King Parikshit, oh, you will be fine, just donate your money to me, or whatever. No. Ultimate goal is to achieve Krishna, and he's saying you are all qualified. Guru has worked with Parikshit Maharaj, and he is, of course, Parikshit Maharaj himself is a Mahabhagat, but he has made sure my disciple is ready to go back to Godhead. This is Guru. And now he is still asking, is there anything else you want? Because this is the end of this chapter. Now ends the commentary on 12th canto, 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Shukdev Goswami's final instructions to Maharaj Parikshit. And the next chapter is Maharaj Parikshit passes away. So that I think we can start tomorrow, although we still have time. But another place, of course, here it will be shown that Takshak came and he bid Maharaj Parikshit. But after giving these final instructions to Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami asked him, is there anything else you want to hear? Maharaj Parikshit will say no. So Shukdev Goswami leaves that place. And along with Shukdev Goswami, now rest everybody also leaves. But then Mother Uttara comes, because there is still time for Takshak to come. Mother Uttara did not come all these 7 days because all the sages, they were there, and she didn't feel it right to be there. So Mother Uttara comes to see Parikshit, her son. And she was very eager to hear what he had heard, what all the instructions were. And Parikshit Maharaj didn't have too much time. So he tells Mother Uttara, there's the story of Gop Kumar. Now people ask, in whole Srimad Bhagavatam, we never heard the story of Gop Kumar. Where did that come from? So Parikshit Maharaj, he summarizes actually the essence of Bhagavatam in that story of Gop Kumar, and that is called Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Prabhupada did not translate that, but Gopi Parandhan Prabhu, one of his greatest scholar disciples, he translated. So the Brihad Bhagavatamrita is, the commentary is written by Sanatan Goswami himself. Not just the shlokas, he wrote the commentary also. So Gopi Parandhan Prabhu translated that commentary. So maybe after we are done with Bhagavatam, then Nectar of Instruction, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then I want to go through Nectar of Devotion. And then if there's still time, we can go through Bhagavatam, Brihad Bhagavatam. And also another story is there when Takshak was coming to bite Maharaj Parikshit. So Takshak was coming and he had taken the form of a man, of a person. So he was coming and he was basically running because it was his time. And there was another sage, I have to find out his name, who was coming, and he saw Takshak. And the sage was very calm and quiet. And then they both started talking to each other. Takshak asked him, who are you and where are you going? And he said, the sage said, well, I'm going to Shukratal and I'm going to save Parikshit Maharaj from the poison of Takshak. And Takshak was, come on, you cannot save him. Then that sage said, okay, you test me. So Takshak, he did not disclose his identity, but he threw some of his poison some of his poison at a tree. And the tree immediately, it just died. And the poison was so strong. But the sage, he took some water from his kamandalu, chanted some mantra and sprinkled those water at the tree, and the tree became alive again. And now Takshak was, no, what to do? This is not right. Parikshit Maharaj is supposed to die by my poison, and this sage is going to just revive him. So Parikshit Maharaj Takshak fell at the feet of that sage. He came to his original form of Takshak. He said, I am Takshak. I'm supposed to bite him and kill him, but if you're going to revive him, then this will not be the right way of doing things, because then he's supposed to die by my bite. Then that sage, then the sage said, okay, then I'll not sprinkle my water on him. I'll give you my word. So you go ahead and kill him. But also there is a saying that Parikshit Maharaj, he did not die by the bite of Takshak, because one who has heard Srimad Bhagavatam, he cannot die like that. So he had left his body even before Takshak bit his foot. But Takshak came, he bit his foot, and the pastime had to go on. So many stories are there, but anyway, we'll read Maharaj Parikshit passing away tomorrow. I think Shashi Mohan Prabhu has some question or comment.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
या प्रभु मतलब एक बहुत बड़ी शंका उत्पन्न हुई, और उसका रीजन ये था कि कई बारी अनजाने में या मतलब आप ड्राइविंग कर रहे हो और कुछ आपके ड्राइविंग आप चाहते नहीं हो, बट आपसे कोई इंसिडेंट हो जाता है और वो प्राणी के प्राण चले जाते हैं, ठीक है, चाहे वो डॉग हो। और एक दिन अभी 2 हफ्ते पहले मतलब कबूतर जो है, जस्ट मैं उसको बचा रहा और वो मेरी टायर के मैंने गाड़ी जिस तरफ करी वो उसी तरफ चल पड़ा और वो उसने प्राण त्याग दिए। अब मुझे बहुत उस दिन मतलब मैं सोया नहीं, और मैं मतलब मैंने माला भी ज्यादा करी उस दिन कि उसकी आत्मा को सही स्थान मिले, और वो मेरे से ही क्यों ये पाप हुआ, प्रभु ने मुझे ही क्यों, जबकि मैं उसे मतलब देख लिया और मैंने गाड़ी को टर्न किया उस तरफ, पर वो नहीं बच पाया। तो बहुत बार ऐसा हुआ। तो फिर मैंने सोचा कि मेरे कुछ कर्मा है ऐसे जिसके कारण जो है वो मेरे से ये पाप होने हैं, पर मैं फिर भी बचना चाहता हूँ, मैं फिर भी सोचता हूँ कि क्यों हो रहे हैं मुझसे ही, ठीक है। तो ये बहुत बड़ी शंका है, और इसका निदान मुझे पता नहीं, प्रभु ही निदान कर सकते हैं। मैं सिर्फ पाठ कर सकता हूँ और उनसे रिक्वेस्ट कर सकता हूँ कि मुझसे ये पाप ना हो, ठीक। तो बट ये हो क्यों रहे हैं मुझे नहीं पता, बट मैं
पाप जो है,
हाँ,
पाप जो है हमसे जाने अनजाने में होते रहते हैं। तो आपने वो जानवर देखा, आपकी गाड़ी से टकराया और मर गया, बट कई ऐसे जीव भी होते हैं ना जो हमारी गाड़ी से टकराते हैं या हमारे पैरों तले आ जाते हैं, चींटियां आ जाती हैं, इंसेक्ट्स आ जाते हैं, मर जाते हैं। तो कोशिश नहीं की थी उनको मारने की, पर इस तरह उनका लिखा हुआ है। ऑल वी कैन डू, डिड द राइट थिंग। हम गाड़ी रोक के या रुक के चैंटिंग कर सकते हैं, प्रार्थना कर सकते हैं, भगवान इस सोल को, मेरी वजह से हुआ जो हुआ, पर इस सोल को ठीक जगह ले जाना।
हाँ प्रभु, मैंने फिर वही डिसाइड किया कि मुझसे हुआ, पर मैं उस सोल के लिए कुछ ना कुछ टाइम डिवोट करूं और प्रभु को रिक्वेस्ट करूं कि उसको सही स्थान दे।
हाँ, पर वो तो आपने देखा ना, पर ये तो कई डेली हमसे मरते हैं लोग।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
लोग क्या मतलब, कई इंसेक्ट्स मर जाते हैं ना।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
शशि मोहन जी, ऐसा है,
ये तो डेली हमें प्रार्थना करनी चाहिए चैंटिंग करते समय। यस माता, यू आर सेइंग समथिंग।
नॉर्थ ईस्ट में क्या होता है, डियर बहुत होते हैं, तो गाड़ी के सामने शाम को आ जाते हैं, स्पेशली अक्टूबर टाइम फ्रेम में, और वो आके आपकी चलती हुई तेज गाड़ी से टकराते हैं। सो इफ यू, बुरा लगता है, पर वो मरते नहीं है क्योंकि डियर बहुत बड़ा होता है। आपकी कार डैमेज हो जाती है और इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज उसको बोलती हैं एक्ट ऑफ गॉड, उसमें आपकी कोई गलती नहीं है, राइट? तो उसी तरीके से दिस वाज एन एक्ट ऑफ गॉड। आपने तो जान करके नहीं मारा ना उनको?
नहीं माता जी, बट हुआ मेरे से ही। तो मुझे कहीं ना कहीं लगता है कि मैं क्या ऐसा करूं कि उस सोल को कुछ प्रभु की तरफ से आशीर्वाद मिले, और मैं उसके लिए मतलब वैसे तो मैंने कुछ किया नहीं, मैंने उसको खाली मारा है, ना मैंने उसके लिए जीवन में कुछ किया, पर वो मरना मृत्यु मेरे द्वारा या मेरे द्वारा जो भी यूज वाहन था उससे हुई। पर फिर भी मतलब वो डिस्टर्ब रहा, और फिर
हाँ
यही सोचा कि प्रभु से यही रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि इसको कम करे, और मैं उनके लिए कुछ विश करूं कि ताकि उनको एक अच्छा स्थान मिले अगले जीवन में।
वो खाली चैंटिंग ही है हमारा, तो एक ही रास्ता है, चैंटिंग।
हाँ प्रभु, तो मैं इसीलिए कई बारी ज्यादा करता हूँ, तो उसका रीजन ये भी है कि मेरे को उस दिन लगता है कि नहीं, मुझे ये 3-4 घंटे उस सोल के लिए करने हैं।
दैट्स गुड। तो वही है, चैंटिंग ही है हमारा, एक ही रास्ता, एक ही नाम, सब कुछ एक ही, बस चैंटिंग, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र।
हरे
That's it.
कृष्ण।
ठीक है, चलो, we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful. हरे कृष्ण,
हरे
जय श्री कृष्ण।